Okay, I think we're good. We'll go ahead and start. And first we'll check out the README and see what we did yesterday. So yesterday, day 8, we were still within the register component. So in Chrome, if I do /register, we can check out what that looks like. Just the simplest form possible without any styling. So after we registered, received the token, we set a redirect to go to /home. And I'll show you this right now. We can do jimbob at lycos.com, 1, 2, 3. And then when we register, it should give us a token and send us to home. And yeah, so now in the home screen, we can see our signed in user has this token. And also the email should be there too. So we have both of those available now to our front end. So that's awesome. And so we also did home component on mount will get user info from the local storage and we'll set user. So say the user signed out not signed out actually of this account, but closed the Chrome browser or caused a refresh manually by just typing here. Normally the user would be signed out. It would delete everything in our state, and it does that. But because in our home component, let's go there and check that out. So because of this code right here, as soon as the home component is mounted, this use effect will come into play, and this code will go ahead and grab the local storage user information, which if we remember is saved. We can check it out in, I believe, application. And then let me make this way bigger. So we see here local storage and our user with our token. All right. Yeah, and then besides for getting the user, it sets the user using our context globally. So anybody in any component in our application can grab that information. So let's go back to the README. And we did a /logout will delete user info from the local storage. So let's actually try that. We do /logout. And we can see that now our signed in user is null. And also if we open up the console again, actually not the console, but application, and we can see that local storage disappeared, got erased. Switch back to our console. So we have a nice clean console, no warnings or anything. So we're good to start day 9. So I want to work on a nav bar, but again, I'm not going to do any sort of styling. I just want to be able to click the word home and click a link for login and click a link for logout. So I think that's what we're going to work on right now. So I'm going to create a new file in our components, just called navbar.js. And let me close that sidebar. And this is going to be a functional component, but we still always need to React because we're going to be using JSX. And then I'm going to say const navbar, no props right now, but we might need them eventually, or might not. And I'm going to actually make this, let me actually see if I can get away with just doing this ES6, just directly return. No curly braces. So right now, let's just do a p tag with navbar. And we'll export it so it's available to anyone who may want it. So let's switch to app.js and see if we can see this navbar on our screen. Do we need navbar in our router? I don't know. Let me see if I can get away. Or actually, yeah, I'm going to put it in there because it will need link and maybe it'll need access to some routing props and stuff. So let's just do navbar. Notice how we don't do a route because we actually always want navbar to be showing. The routes, you can think of them like show hide based on the path, but we always want this navbar showing no matter what other component is being registered. Okay, so we got I didn't use my auto import that I always use. So as I type navbar, I should get an auto import option and it brings it at the top here. Save it again. So now I see navbar. That's great, but I want to see home. I want to see register. I want to see login, and I want to see log out. So actually, let me add that to the README. I want to see a register, and we're going to customize this navbar too to show only some options if you're actually signed in. But for right now, let's get them all on the screen. So yeah, we want all these links and to be able to click them. So let's go back to navbar.js. Let's do an empty fragment. So this is kind of like a div, but will provide you no styling at all. And then React always needs a single parent container, so we're safe there. And yeah, so for this, we're going to use the link tag that we can auto import from React Router DOM. And let's see the warning here. The prop2 is marked as required in link. So let's give it a 2. So this first one can be home component. So we just want it to go to the / and we'll say home. See how that looks. Okay. And then actually we want home, register, login, log out. So let's do register. Let's do log in. And I just, oh no, okay, we're good. For a second, I got confused with our backend routes. I was like, do I need to do /user /register? But I totally don't. Totally separate routes going on. And log out. And now, so they look really super ugly. I said I would do no styling at all, but maybe just a little bit of styling. And I believe this fragment, one of the, you know what? I don't know if it can take a style prop. I don't think it can actually. I think the one attribute it can take is, or property it can take is key. But let's try to, so it's already yelling at us, so I really doubt it can. Yeah. So it can't take a style prop. So let's actually turn this back to div. And div here. And I'm just going to do an inline style. What do I want to do? I want to, what do I want to do? I want to give each link a little bit of space. Is it padding? I'm going way out of my comfort zone with CSS. I think I'm gonna keep it super ugly for now. We'll come back to it and address it later because CSS is not my strong suit. Yeah. So it's going to be ugly. So, but they work. If we look in the browser, we see. I actually clicked log out, and I saw this message: warning, cannot update during an existing state transition. Render method should be a pure function. It says in logout. So I'm not sure what that warning is. I guess it doesn't like set user null. You know what might be better to put that in a use effect, because you're not supposed to set just in a render function, which we're technically in right now. You want it to be like on a click or when the component first mounts. So to get rid of that warning, maybe it'd be best practice to do use effect. And again, use effect takes two arguments: a function that will be invoked at a certain time, and the array dependency when to invoke said function. If you leave it empty, it'll just invoke once. And I think we're probably good to throw set user null into there. And we'll get rid of that warning, hopefully, but have the same functionality, I believe, or not. So if I click log out, so I moved it to a use effect, so I don't know why it's still yelling at me. Maybe I'll move this code in there too, make it really clean. Okay, cool. So it didn't like, I was also doing this remove item to local storage, maybe, oh, because I changed, no, I'm not sure. But anyway, there's no warnings now, so it's happy. But then finally it says, it wants props.history and set user in its dependencies. Let me try to move props.history down. Okay, so it wants it in use effect. So we can do that. Let me put it back there. And then I'll show you the warning again. If we click on logout, here's the warning. React hook use effect has missing dependencies, prop.history and set user. So we'll just put it in there. It shouldn't really have any effect, but just to get rid of the warning. And now we have a beautiful, clean console. These two things I don't think are going to actually change, so they're never going to cause this use effect to occur. I don't believe. And even if they did cause it to occur, I don't think once the component is not mounted anymore, its effects, it has no effects because it's not like in the ball game anymore. So I think we're very safe with that code. But these concepts are really new, React 16 or whatever. So still getting used to use effect for sure. So yeah, logout takes us to /logout, but then redirects us to home, which we want. /login. So we haven't created a login form yet. /register takes us to register, and we see the register component, and home to our home component. So that is all working. We can go to our README and give ourselves a completed nav bar. Register, login, home, logout. Yeah. And let me see if the navbar I can just manually put a break maybe for now, since I don't want to do styling, but I would like it to look slightly better. I'll just do this so it's a little clearer, because I know altogether is pretty insane looking. Okay, so that's working, our nav bar. What's next? So we're going to work on that login component. I think the code is going to be very similar to our register. So I might actually grab that code, but we want to display the form for email and password. So exactly like register. Set user for token and email. So yeah, so when we get a response, this is going to be almost identical to register. I think just our fetch, just the fetch request is the only thing that's going to change. So this might be super quick. Okay, let's go to our register. And let's actually copy all this code. And let's paste it. And everywhere we see register, let's make login. Let's save this. And let me just check that it looks okay. So here's the only place we actually have to change users /login. I think everything else is exactly the same thing. Oh, no, the code, no, okay, the code, no, actually the code might be a little bit different. So let's play along with it. But if it's like completely the same, I might just reuse the same component and then do a toggle, whether it's login or register. But let's see all the things that actually need to be changed. So this has to be lowercase for the path, user /login, but we're still going to be fetching to our base URL, just our localhost server that's running. We still are sending a post request. And let me show you in Postman what we're trying to accomplish. So basically we're trying to do users /login, a post request. And in the body, we're basically sending what looks like this. If we click send, we get a token back, and I want to actually modify that to also get an email back, because I want both those things. So I will modify the back end eventually. But this is what we're trying to do right now in our login component. Okay, so that's fine. It's still email and password. Checking that the response is good is still fine. I think this is all still good. I don't think actually anything has to change really, which is surprising. So maybe we will reuse this component to one component and just call it like register or login, because it's a lot of repeated code. I mean, there's a couple of places it has to change, but or maybe we'll leave it as it is. Let's check it out. So we're going to click on login, and we can tell the difference. This button says login and this one says register. So we want login. And then we can enter any user, max@yahoo.com, 123. And this is the same as our postman request. And then we should get back you know what? We have to modify the backend because right now the backend is expecting. Well, you know what? Let's take a look at what happens. So after everything is said and done, we store the response from the backend in user. So let's just console.log user and see what happens. So when user is not defined, right? All we have is set user here. So from context, I'm gonna grab user. It's as easy as that, grabbing anything we need from our global context, just adding it here in this list of things we're destructuring. So originally it's null, that's perfect, because we refreshed our app and we're not in the home component right now. Yeah. So let's enter our email as max@yahoo.com, 123. And now log in. And the response from the server is just this token. But if you remember what from day 8, what we actually want is the token and an email. So I'm going to switch to the backend and make that happen. So I'm going to pull up our backend and find our user's router and our login post. And here I want to send, this is where I'm actually making the response. I want to send token and I want to send user. And I think it should be as easy as that. Let me save both. I don't see this refreshing. I'll manually refresh. I'll go ahead and log out. No warnings. I like that. We'll click on login. Our user right now is null. max@yahoo.com, 123. Click login, and now we get the token and the user. And in our home, we got redirected to our home component. That's awesome. And we're now signed in both our front end and our back end, kind of. The back end, you're not really signed in. It's stateless. So when you make requests, you send your token. So that looks good. So these two are extremely similar, the login and the register. So I think maybe it would make sense and be a fun practice to just use one component for both. I'm trying to think if there's any reason that wouldn't make sense. I can't actually think of one especially because we're doing no styling or anything like that. I think it'll be actually be fun to try and way simplify our app. So let's do that. Let's go back to register. And change this to be register and login. Oh gosh. I don't know if we can use slashes in our component name, so I'll just say register and login. So, and again, the only thing that has to change is right there. So let's do it. Let's do register and login. And this is eventually going to have to change. We're going to have to address that. So maybe we'll even put in a comment. Will need to change. Where else has to change? This is all the same. And this will have to change. Will need to change. How do I do a comment in JSX? I don't know, so I'm going to highlight it and press Control /. And I think, okay, so this register and login, and I think that's it. Now it's going to crash. Well, it will crash if we click register. Okay, it won't. I thought in app.js we would have to change the import name. So because it's a default export, we can call it whatever we want. So that's why it's still functioning. But to make it make more sense, I'm going to say register and login. And for component, for register, I'm going to say register and login. And the exact same for login. So now these are actually registering the same component, but we want it to change based on the path here. So this will be what dictates the change. So I think we should put that, where should we put that? In our state, or just directly, we can just directly access it, I think. So yeah, when I click login, you see how this button still says register? That's what we're trying to fix. So let's go to our, oh, and I want to change the file name too before I forget, so that it's clear everywhere. So rename this to register and login. This might cause some awful problems. Yep, and I knew it would. Yes, let's try to update it. So it's gonna make me close this out. So let's view our terminal. There's a VS Code shortcut, Control tilde, to do that. Let's close this down, Control C, and let's start it back up. Anytime you manually change a file name like this, it really causes problems. But I definitely wanted to make that more clear. All right, I'm going to press Control tilde again to close my terminal. And Control B, oops. Shoot, okay, let's see what's going on. We have an error, module not found. Okay, so, no, I changed this. Oh, I didn't save it. See this dot up here? I just didn't save app. But again, I'm gonna have to, just because of that error. Oh no, cool, we're good. Okay, so to close the sidebar, you can just press Control B in VS Code. And okay, so our goal now is when we click login and our path is login, we want to see this component say login. So I'm going to delete this import line. It's no longer necessary because we're using one component like double duty. I'm going to open the console just to make sure we have no errors or warnings. We're clean. And I'm going to go to this register and log in. So now I need a way to access this path. And I believe that's just free in our navigation props. Let's see. So const, I don't know, path equals besides for guess, I'm just going to start at console.log props.navigation because I know that's where they're all stored at first. So let's go ahead and take a look there. Shoot, we see undefined. Isn't it props.navigation? Huh. Let me take a look at my app.js. Yeah, so these should be accessing our navigation props to register and log in. This is going to be similar to when we redirected. How did we do that? So yeah, we said props. Oh, let me just try props. Maybe it's not props.navigation. Maybe it's, I don't know, something else. So it's not, I might be thinking React Native or something, but it's just props. They're just in our props object as properties. They're not in sub properties. So I see this match and this path, and that's exactly what I want. Oh, I wonder if I can do a, no, that's fine. So if I just do, I'm taking a look if there's anything that doesn't have that slash. I mean, it's not too important, but it'd be slightly easier. So let's do props dot path. And I'm not positive what the difference between path or URL is, but path sounds more appropriate to me. So let's just try to console.log this. And I'm getting undefined. Oh, I think I need a match there. Okay, cool. So now we see /login when we're logged in or on the login component, and we see register when we're on the register path. And now if I use some JavaScript, because this is just a string, I'm pretty sure, if I split it and take out the / and then that'll, let's see what that does actually. That gives me an array with 2 items, an empty string and the thing I want. So I'm just going to grab the first index, and that's going to be equal to the specific path I'm on, it's going to be a register or login. Basically, it's going to be the word register or login. But I'll just say path because I can't think of anything better right now, even though that might not be so optimal. I could even say register or login. I could even say that. That might be better. Or no, I think I like path more. So we'll do path. So where does this need to change? It needs to change here, users / and register or login depending on the path. So I'm actually gonna use, I think it's string interpolation. Basically, you can use backticks instead of your quotes, and then you can inject variables. So we're gonna inject, if I can ever find the $, we're gonna inject base URL, and we're gonna inject, oh, you know what? I didn't actually need to take out that, I didn't need to maybe manipulate the path here, but I probably will need to later, so it's fine. But then I want the base URL /, and just to remind you what we're doing, we're just recreating this pretty much. And then I want users, and then I want / inject register, or sorry, path. Because path is going to be equal to register or login. And that's how I have it, right? My path, users / login, users / register. I think that should be good. I'm going to delete this comment, save it. It's not yelling at all, so that's nice. And there's one other place we needed to change, right? So we need to change this. And here, I think I can just, it's a string, so I think I can just put it directly. Register and login. Oh no, I'm sorry. I called this path. And I'll get rid of this comment, and we'll see how this looks. And we'll test both routes. Okay, so first login. Ooh, I like that. It already changed its button. It's not capitalized, but I'm not going to sweat that right now, I don't think. Or you know what? No, it's a little too much JavaScript and off the trails to do right now. We're gonna leave it. So login, we're doing max@yahoo.com. 1, 2, 3. So we got an error that do we not have a max@yahoo.com? So this is basically like it didn't find this user. I believe this error. But we have a max@yahoo, right? Yeah, that's what I've been using. User / login. Let me see if the server is still running. Yeah, we're still good. Let me save and refresh and try again. Oh, is there a double slash right here? Yeah, I think that's the error. I think it's a double slash. So let's find that. So maybe we don't need we don't need base URL / because that's included in our base URL already. And to show you, if we do base URL, we can see it right here, this /. Okay, save this and we'll try again. max@yahoo.com. 1, 2, 3. Nice. We signed in. That path's working. Redirected to home. Let's try our register. Jim Bob 123 at ebay.com. Password 123. Click register, and register did change its button, and we get registered and redirected. So now we're using one component for these two different paths. So it's nice and clean. Cool. So let's check our, whoops, what did I do? Let's check our README. And we did the display form. We set the user token, set local storage, all the same things as register, and we redirected to home. And we completely handled login. So I think at this point, our user auth on our back end and our front end is pretty much complete. Now it's like, this is kind of like the background you would have to do for every MERN app pretty much. But now it's actually the customization for your unique app that you're creating. In our case, we talked about doing CSS art submissions. So I guess for next stream, day 10, the form for users to submit CSS. Yeah. I'm not sure if in our backend we already have, I think we do. I think we already created backend endpoints for creating submissions. Yeah, we called it submission, I remember. So our backend is all wired up to accept requests to create submissions from our front end. So we just need a form and just fire them off. And then we can have a place where we show all the submissions. And then you can take it as far as you want. You can have users rate others people's submission. But I think for this first app that I've done on the entire channel, I think I'm going to keep it probably really simple. Because I've done the back end offline, but I haven't thought about the front end a lot offline. So, yeah. But anyway, we'll definitely do a form for users to submit CSS and a component slash submissions maybe to see all the CSS submissions. And this would be slash submissions post, I guess. And this would be slash submissions get. Yeah. All right. Hope you enjoyed the stream. I'll see you soon.